beyond the smoke, inside the mind. The timeless vibe hit a thought provoke. It was before the shine, behind the scenes, from the grit and grind to the finer things. Pass the torch, pour a glass, live the dream beyond the smoke with my man Kareem. It's real.
Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Smoke. I am your host, Kareem Ford, and we are here with a very, very special guest. I mean, Ryan Taylor. He is the owner, and he is actually a tailor as well. Entrepreneur, Mr. Ryan Taylor, man. Thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you.
Pleasure's mine.
And we always start off by talking about what we're smoking. So today we're doing Dignity Cigars, Pure Nubia today. So shout out to Don Juan for that. And while we're on the subject of cigars, Ryan, do you remember your very first cigar?
I do.
Tell us about it.
I did a show for the clothing brand, Dro. So I had custom clothes, we made custom suits, shirts, ties. We did what we call like a trunk show. Okay. And invited all our customers out to a showroom at the showroom in downtown LA. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the show, a buddy of mine, Ken, came through and was like, "Man, that was a good show, RT. Man, I got a stick for you." And I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
This was maybe 15 years ago. Okay. And it was an Oliva. I remember it clearly. And it wasn't too strong. I don't know. I didn't know anything at the time. And I lit it up, and the first, inch and a half, I was struggling because I wanted to inhale it, but I know I wasn't supposed to.
Sure.
And after I got past that inch, I think I just fell in love. I was like, man, why is this hitting me so nice? I feel totally, under control, but I feel kind of laid back right now, man. And so that's my first stick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, like I was telling you off camera, we kind of want to get into your history a bit, right? Mm-hmm. So tell us, man, where were you born? Where were you raised?
I was born in Los Angeles, raised in Inglewood, in South LA, and on the Ladera Heights. Went to Parent, right, about 5 minutes from here, Frank D. Parent Elementary, Culver City High School. And when I graduated high school, I went to Hampton University of Virginia. And so that's the path that I took after college. I thought I was going to be a rapper. And so,
I've been there.
So yeah. I mean, it's like riding a bike. I can still bust one for you, but we're not gonna go back to that world. And
you never know.
Like careful, talking that's right.
Yeah, listen.
So I ended up getting a job at Def Jam West. Okay. This is back in the Coolio days. Montel Jordan. In fact, I remember when the main guy was running, it was Paul Stewart. Yeah. He ran the song by me and my buddy Shane, and we were like, "It's garbage. This whole slick Rick beat, it's not gonna go anywhere." And we all know where that song went. Yeah. Skyrocketed, best song probably of the '90s.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. So as I mentioned in the intro, you are also a tailor.
Yeah.
You custom make suits.
I do.
When did the passion for that start for you?
I would say it started as a young kid in elementary school. Okay. I always liked to be, I was particular. In fact, my mom gave me an opportunity. We go back to school shopping, and she said, "Now listen, you can get 3 pair of Tough Skins, or you can get 1 pair of Jordache." And I was like, "This is a no-brainer. Yeah. Give me the Jordache. And so I've always liked what I liked, and I used to tape my pants even in high school, and even I used a sewing machine with it. And we tape them so tough you have to force your heel through it. And I always liked a particular look, and so I wanted to create it. My uncle, rest in peace, passed and left a bunch of clothes, suits, old-timer suits, the Glen plaids and just the dope fabric and patterns and lids, Dobbs lids and whatnot. And I tried on a bunch of his stuff, and I ended up being close to his size. This is in high school. Mm-hmm. And I taped some of those things and got them tightened up. and all the kids at school was like, "Oh man, this is tight. You know where you get this?" And so I've always had a thing for it. I consider myself more of a stylist than a tailor.
Okay.
Right. I like putting together combinations, color combinations, that kind of thing.
Wow. Because when it comes to suits in particular, everybody has their own thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what are some of those common mistakes that you automatically see right off the bat that may kind of run you the wrong way?
It's two main things for me. It's the combination, and I'll go into that in a second. And the second is the fit. And so you can take a really cheap fabric, poorly even designed suit. If you tailor it properly and get it to fit on the person properly, it can win.
Yeah.
And so I take fit I take fit first. I have to choose. If somebody has to decide
Fit over fabric.
Fit over fabric.
Okay.
Fit over fabric. Make it fit you properly, no matter what fabric you can afford. Make it fit you right. It doesn't cost much to get it to fit properly. But as far as what bugs me on the design side, I would say too many colors, trying too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Often you'll see a loud shirt with a big check pattern or something with a big check jacket and a loud tie, and just when you're trying to make everything the centerpiece, that's kind of a pet peeve.
Yeah. So let's say somebody's going to look for a suit, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that person should be looking at when searching for a suit? That's maybe off the rack.
Outside of fit, or maybe we should start with fit. I
Okay.
mean, the first thing you do is you try it on and make sure it fits you properly. I shop with a plan. I never go into a store without kind of visualizing what I'm looking for, what I want, which I know some shop that way, others shop other ways. But I think if you have a plan, then it limits your time in the store, it limits your options, if you will. So you're not looking at every single thing and thinking that every single thing there is for you.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I would say is, what is your goal for the suit? If the purpose of the suit is for an interview or to make you more powerful, then you want to go with navy blue.
Mm-hmm.
It's period in the story, navy blue. Don't get a black suit, don't get a tan suit, a gray suit. You could do gray, charcoal gray, but if you want the best, look for navy blue. So now that you know what color you're going for when you walk in the store, you try to find a navy blue that fits you. So that would be a smart starting point.
Now talk about fit a little bit more, right? Because I see some guys wearing suits that they think they fit and they don't fit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So give us some tips on what makes a good fit.
Yeah. It's a tough question because there's so many small elements, but from a macro perspective, I would say you would start with the shoulders. Often guys are wearing suits where the shoulders, if you look at this mannequin, the shoulders are supposed to fall right where the shoulder falls, right? So the line comes here and the end of the shoulder's here, it falls.
Yeah.
Some guys are wearing jackets where the shoulder comes out this far and then it falls. So it makes them look too boxy, too like they have on football shoulder pads or something. And that can add weight and make all kinds of creases, and it creates a poor fitting suit. So I will probably start first and foremost with the shoulders. Second, and a very quick second, is the jacket length. Jackets that are too long make you shorter. Clothing is all about illusion, really. And so I recommend, if you're under 5'10", don't get a long jacket. Don't get a 42 long, and you could possibly even avoid a 42 regular. Maybe we can do a 42 short. And what that long, regular, and short represents is the length of the jacket. And so, yeah, try to find a jacket that falls just below your pant pockets. Covering a small portion of your seat, but not all of your seat. So those would be two really smart starting points.
Wow.
From there, you can taper it so that it's not too much space in the chest and waist, so that it comes in a bit. An advanced tailor can take in their sleeves so that it's not too baggy in the arms. And so by making these adjustments, right, so you can take some fabric in here so that this is not too baggy. And as you can see, this guy has a really skinny arm. So there's too much fabric in here. My preference would be if I were to tailor this person, I'd make the sleeves a little slimmer. And then of course, this is a simple fit, making sure that the length of the sleeve reveals a 1/4 inch of the cuff. Some guys like to show a 1/2 inch, which is fine. My personal preference is no more than a 1/4 inch, just a small little touch.
Okay. So walk us through the process, right? Somebody comes in off the street, they say, I'm looking for a custom-made suit. Walk us through that process. What is the first thing that you do in that process?
The first thing I do is interview them. So I have a 5-step process. The interview is, it runs through challenges that they face buying off the rack, what their goals are, what their favorite colors are, what is their purpose for buying this? Is this for work? Is this for pleasure? Is this for after 6, before 6? Is this for meetings? Is this for presenting? And the answers that they give will help me zero in on the right fabrics for them. So after the interview, we'll typically take measurements. I take roughly 32 measurements. This is from your neck all the way down to your ankles, basically, and all the measurements in between. Once I have the measurements, from there I typically decide on a package. I try to get the numbers out the way so that when we're shopping, when we're looking at fabric and whatnot, my customer isn't concerned with, is this going to cost me more, is that going to cost me more? So we identify what's the package, what's your budget, and then we go shopping. Fourth would be to select the fabric.
So tell me about the different types of fabric.
Fabric comes in different prices, and that's where the price of your suit really comes from.
Okay.
And the price is driven by scarcity. And so if there is, and not just scarcity, but the quality of the yarn. And so a polyester fabric isn't as expensive, and it's not rare. It's easy to find. And so the price for a polyester cloth is going to be a lot less than a Super 200 wool cloth. Okay. My recommendation is you get a wool suit, and wool comes in a wide range. I typically don't start anything under a Super 100, but up to a Super 180 in that range. What do those numbers represent? 100 to 180. It represents stitches per square inch.
Okay.
So 100 stitches per square inch is a Super 100. Super 180 is 180 stitches per square inch. 180 stitches means it's more tightly woven, and what that ends up producing is a garment that's more flowy. It's more draped. It's less rigid, less stiff. Okay, and everything has pros and cons. All of the models that they use are super duper slim, skinny models. And so with that, you have a much more slim lapel, much more slim fit, skinny. And so that has been what traditionally the European fit has been. Compared to American fit, it's often been more boxy, more full, because more of the society really is, we're showing people with bigger frames. And so therefore, a wider lapel makes more sense, and maybe even a wider shoulder. A European cut jacket would have very light shoulder pads. Like the jacket I'm wearing has no shoulder pads. This is literally my shoulder right here. Normally there would be padding in here to build up the shoulders. The Europeans were the first that I had seen to master that look with no pads whatsoever. And so as you can see from me wearing it, I like it. But the more American fit would have a boxier, more full shoulder pad. So those are some examples of differences.
So before you were talking about color, are there certain colors that go with certain maybe skin tones? Okay, kind of explain that dynamic.
The way I really look at color is, as it relates to skin tone, is I try to stay away from colors that are too close to my same skin tone. So in other words, I don't want to wear a shirt that's the same color as my hand. Now that doesn't mean I can't wear a brown shirt. It just needs to be a couple shades darker or a couple shades lighter.
Okay.
But if it's too close to the same color as you are, that's your simple rule. Stay away from it.
Okay. And now talk about patterns, right? Because I know certain patterns don't really go together, explain how you should kind of be careful with choosing certain patterns.
Okay, so patterns can produce different illusions for you.
Okay.
So stripes, because it's a vertical line, if the line goes on and on and on, it makes you look longer, it makes you look taller. So shorter guys will often put them in a chalk stripe or a pinstripe suit.
Okay.
And the difference between a chalk and a pinstripe, a chalk stripe is a slightly wider stripe, a pinstripe is real skinny. They're both just stripes.
Yeah.
Right. So you put a really short guy in a chalk stripe suit, that line as he's standing there looks long. It looks like it's just going on and on. So it helps produce height almost. Horizontal lines often make you look wider because it's the same illusion. A line that's going down feels like it just keeps going. A line that goes horizontal feels like it widens. So if you have guys who are really wide, you probably want to stay away from checker patterns that have horizontal lines in them, because those horizontal lines will almost make them seem wider than they are, make them seem bigger. And if you seem wider, it almost can reduce your height. You know, it can produce an illusion of a shorter person. So if you want to produce height, wear stripes. If you want to reduce weight and make you look slimmer, stay away from lines that are horizontal. That's a simple, answer for it. Yeah.
Okay. Whenever I wear, so I like to, wear the handkerchief and the tie, but I'm always questioning myself. I gotta ask my wife, what you feel about this? Because ultimately I want to please her at the end of the day.
Yes,
so whatever
sir.
she rocking with, I'm rocking
Yes,
with.
sir.
But there's got to be some rules to this whole thing here. So some guidelines, if you will, on how to match your handkerchief and your tie.
Well, I can tell you the rule, excuse me, I can tell you the rule that I typically follow.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I hesitate to try to make it sound like there's only one rule
Sure.
is because there really isn't. There isn't any one rule, but I often try to make my pocket square match my shirt and not match my tie. Okay? So often you'll see a guy has a red tie and a red pocket square. I can't say it's wrong, but it's like, it's not doing anything for me. It's almost too matchy, too perfect. And it's to me, it doesn't show no style. It just shows it's boring to me. So that's why with this dark tie, I wore a white square to go with my shirt.
Yeah.
You see? So that's a general rule that I do. Make the pocket square pull out some element in your shirt, or I'll give you another example.
Okay.
For let's say you have a stripe, a white shirt with blue stripes, navy blue stripes.
Okay.
My recommendation is if you wear a tie that has a minor, as in the smallest amount of blue in it, not a tie that's all blue.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you put on a yellow tie on top of it, but it had little blue flowers in it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Those blue flowers are going to pop out because of the stripe. That they're going to play off each other. I think that's going to be a better expression because of that minor amount of blues pulling out the blue from the shirt. So the short answer is, if you have on a colored shirt, let's say a blue shirt, pick a tie that has the smallest amount of blue in it, not that has a lot of blue in it.
Okay.
And that'll help you create a stylish expression.
Okay. So speaking on ties, there's a million different ways to tie a tie. And I'm confused on 99.9% of them,
Yeah.
right? So what occasions, if you will, go with, say, a full Windsor or a half Windsor, or if you want to get fancy with Trinity knot or whatever, what occasions fit what style of knot you want to go with?
I don't tie very many knots. I only tie, and I'm a minimalist.
Okay.
So I try to zero in on what I think is the best, and I stick with that.
Okay.
And the best is a funny term, but let me define that. The best based on the shape of your head. So in other words, if you have a more round head, then if you do a really big triangle knot, like a double Windsor, you make it really big, it almost it makes the head keep going almost. You want to try to create separation. That's what we're always trying to do, is create separation. And so if you have more, like my head is more oval, so then I can tie a bigger triangle. But I don't want my triangle to be too big where it spreads past my chin. And so I tie a double Windsor knot because I like the shape of the triangle, right? So you see this triangle, right? And there's, like you said, there's a lot of different ties. You see some ties that are real skinny, all right? If you have a very slim face, a skinnier knot makes more sense because it fits your, like a big knot on a skinny head is gonna bring all your attention to the knot. And so, and the purpose of well-fitting, put together expressions, instead of calling them clothes.
I like that, expression.
Colors speak for you, whether you know it or not, even whether you like it or not, whether you even believe it or not, it doesn't matter. They speak for you. So if you remember, I'll tell you a story about Tiger Woods. When he was burning up the golf course, close to a decade ago, but let's say 7-8 years ago, he always wore red shirts. He'd win and he throw his hands up with the red shirt. All right, red is a statement of power, of passion, and excitement, and that's what Tiger was, and it fit perfectly. Now, when he got in all that drama with his wife and cheating and whatnot, and then he wanted to ask for the public's good graces, let me back in, I'm not a bad guy. What color do you think he wore? That red, fiery, aggressive? No. And do we think that was by chance? And this dude is a multi-millionaire, probably approaching billionaire, I don't know. Do you think he didn't have somebody tell him that color matters? Right. He wore a baby blue shirt. What does baby blue represent from the psychology? Trust. Baby blue represents trust. I'm honest. I'm not gonna lie to you.
What are some of the challenges that you faced during your journey? I know there's many.
Yeah,
So
where do I start? I'll tell you, one of the biggest adversities I had to overcome was when I first started in the clothing biz. I borrowed a bunch of money to do this show called the Magic Show. Now this has nothing to do with magic, abracadabra. It's a men's apparel garment industry convention, something like that. And so this show, what I thought and what I've been told was the end all be all. If you make it to this show, you get a booth, you bring your samples, all the stores that want to buy and replenish their stores, their clothing stores with new product, come to the Magic Show, and you'll sell out. Don't even worry about it, you'll sell. So I get to the Magic Show, I have this booth, I'm in the hole, all this money to get the booth, to pay for the booth and whatnot. And shout out to John Bryan, Operation Hope. That's one of my mentors that helped me get the funding for this. And so we sold probably about $20,000 worth of product. So I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I come back home, like, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, and actually, before I cut to the end, let me tell you one big piece, because this is the big piece. I had this one guy come to my booth, and he said, "So, okay, tell me your story. What you got going?" I said, "Yeah, we're young entrepreneurs, and we have a clothing line. At the time, we only sold shirts, and we have all these different shirts, and yeah, we're gonna create a drobe because we took the war out of your wardrobe." And he was like, "Okay," and he left. About 10 minutes later, he came back and he goes, "You need a better story." And he and he walked on. And it irked me, but I was like, whatever, I got to keep it moving. I have my raincoat on. It was just falling off me. I wasn't going to worry about it. So, all right, fast forward. We get home, $20,000, and we call the orders to, process the credit cards. Every last one of those orders changed their mind. "Oh, we overbought. Sorry, sir. No, we're not going to. Well, we'll call you back in a month and we'll be ready then." We had zero, as in nothing. Before the show, I just had a dream. But after the show, I had a dream that had been a little broken, and I owed a lot of money. So I reminisced on the guy telling me, "You need a better story." And I started thinking about that, right? And I'm in LA, right? Born and raised. And I said, you know what? Hollywood is right up the street, literally right up the street. I could get there in 10 minutes. I'm gonna see if I can get my shirts on some of these TV shows. You know, maybe I can figure that out, so I can have a better story. I can say, yeah, I can have these celebrities wearing my product. And the first show I called was the Bernie Mac show. So this gives you an idea how long ago this was.
Right.
And it was remarkably easy. I called the station and they were like, production. I was like, could I have the Bernie Mac show, please? They're like, just a second. Bernie Mac gets there. Someone picks up. Maybe they said production. Yeah, the first one probably said the station, Fox or CBS.
Sure.
And this person picks up production, and I said, hi, I have clothing that I wanted to show to get on the show. And they said, you want wardrobe, sir? And I was like, yes, please, wardrobe. Wardrobe. They send me the wardrobe, and the lady picks up. She goes, costume. And I'm like, hi, I just did the magic show, and trying to get some credibility.
Sure.
And I have these shirts, and they're awesome, and they would be perfect with Bernie Mac, and I'd love to get them on the show. And she goes, you are so lucky. We're actually doing an open call on Tuesday. What's your name and what's the name of your company? I'll get you a drive on. Come down between 3 and 4. That's God's my witness. It was literally that easy. I called. I drove down there. I met, I think her name was Michelle Cole. I met a sister that
looked at what I had,
and she bought a few pieces, and
wow.
and we grew from there.
Being a stylist, where do you see the next trends going, or where do you see that you know see for the near future? You see things that are happening. What's going on?
This is going to be such
So
a
you know being a stylist.
sorry answer. I'm not. I don't see myself as a fashion guy at all, so I don't know. What I can tell you is, I can tell you what I hope stays. I hope that this slim fitting, this closer fitting expression that we're seeing sticks around. I think it's good. It's really causing people to be more healthy, believe it or not, to work out more. Hey man, this shirt is kind of hugging me. I need to lose a little weight so I can fit this better.
Yeah.
This button is pushing kind of hard on my jacket. That's because your jacket is slimmer and you didn't lose the weight for it. So let's get the weight off you. And guys are actually responding that way. I love that. I think that's healthy. Specifically for the fashion, because it's fashionable to wear dark green right now. Do I expect dark green to be here 3 months from now? No. What color do I expect it to be?
Wow.
To be honest with you, I don't know.
Got it. Wow, that's a lot of information. I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate it. You gave a lot of good information here today. And man, I'm just excited because I think I want to get me a custom suit.
Let's get started. Shall I get my tape?
We're going to get to it.
Okay.
We're going to get to it. So there you have it. Another episode of Beyond the Smoke. Ryan Taylor gives so much game, so much knowledge on suit and fashion. Man, I'm just blessed to have you here, my brother. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And like always, no matter what you smoke big. Till next time. Peace.
Ryan Taylor, founder of Drove Custom Clothing, co-founder of Drove Stogies, just did an incredible interview with Beyond the Smoke. My brother Kareem. Thank you, brother. Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right.
Good stuff. Good time.
Beyond the Smoke with my man Kareem. It's real.